I sucked a long, thoughtful sip of my evening coffee and pondered his mood swing and agreed to stay. I didn't know what this was, but I trusted it. He might not be so confident if there weren't, quote-unquote, due time to show me what inventory down to a sunrise pleasure. Again, especially here. Now he'd show me around the next day and introduce me to all they could fit in a day. Introducing wasn't everything. Given it was still 24 hours, or as well as hours later, if she had any errands to run first. Both were acutely aware with all the common sense possible, with one just as much as I in a run-of-the-mill society standards wanted no more trouble whatsoever than I can handle to unite this one, to even surpass, if not equal, a well-rounded culture as home. But perfection never comes. It wasn't unavoidable to have conflicting points of view if still staring at what not being boring than observing culture at Food's cult you are. Like they've recruited me to paint that on banners. There's only so much different I could be than my accent before creatures of average intelligence change their own minds and wouldn't take the credit I didn't really deserve. The least I could do was make peace with propositions as after absorbing the basic conflicts that needed no more heat to boil than even anything added for a generation. A generation or a day? An hour? A minute? We slept in different parts of the hut. I slept in the room until the table and portrait of Kexen thought deeply about how he behaved away from a crowd or behind a closed door. He had reason to be respected and feared general, I had no doubt, so there must be a soft side deep down his only brother could honestly know. Maybe it was a gimmick to get his men to do the job. I was inevitably about to meet him too, so I couldn't help but compare he and Atticus, and have both Kexen and I see what formalities and first impressions did to scrape away prognosticated preconceived notions by word of mouth. So shallow. Easy and casual if he allowed it. I listened to the heavy rain with my eyes closed and wondered just who might manipulate whom first and what motivated ends of twisted projected gain. I had to preserve and suppress feelings for until I had met him, especially. He might already have been sharing brainwaves that envied and hated or looked up to me or down on me. Just as much from forthcoming. Like the new kid on the block with a new employee who was making more money. Like I'm going to stick it to him first. One of my guesses was he took great vanity in the honor of command and let it go to his head. Not to imply as much as they would. To be in charge of his kind, if abuse was emerging, requiring my consultation. In my mind jingled the do not disturb doorknob handle with that thought. I turned to my other side, facing the wall so I wouldn't keep seeing Kexen peripheral, and helped until yet I could feel his glare burning the back of my neck hair. My paranoid feelings got the better of me, not just regarding his almost assured lack of cooperation, but to live up to what strangers of different generations, species, and I guess nationalities anticipated of me before knowing what my favorite hobbies were. I drifted off into a lone dreamboat on the sea of B12 droplets into a dormant state that I had to be as either a sneaky or honest light. Hoping with every heartbeat and raindrop that I could just awaken to be single Elisent in my real bedroom of no tension. Yet no life brewing. Like on pause. My concluded thought was before sleep was to offer the question of why they'd want to expect each other, let alone themselves to participate in destruction of the almost unimaginable proportions on such a gloomy scape of claimable land. Was only so much of a claimable? How could I sleep when I'm sleeping? You can't sleep in dreams. They didn't describe that. Maybe it wasn't the same for everybody. But all that wasn't about to occur until my toughest feature, hardships to overcome, to help these creatures irreversibly gain the perspective to live in peace among one another. Was peace this hard? Anybody, any moment could change it. Again. Instead, the seeds of my social focus did not wish to blossom, let alone be watered and fertilized beyond these trees, on a sloping hill that will go downwards anyway, by accident or design. No matter how you try to go up it, I was understandably hesitant to meet anyone so willing to risk everything they laid eyes on before I, without thought of irreparable consequence, not near the battlefield grounds. It struck me like an odd lightning bolt that Atticus was not afraid of his own twin brother. If he were the only one, or sounded so for fear to be veiled upon. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. It was too easy to figure if one brother did fear the other. It not only explained shy sensitivity to be passed off as. The myth that blood brothers sense things the other did not. Might not be such a stretch of far-fetched. He was just standing up for the powerful position of responsibility, and either his brother had too big a head to notice or rubbed off every chance he got for Atticus to show off even outside his presence. Brothers showing voodoo pain was one thing, but one desiring to occupy the other's job? How much did he want to see him? For the vanity, out of revenge? Did Atticus outright admit for wishing the position he could bring more righteousness and honor to? Or to have his only brother out of expectation apply to it all? Who recruited the general anyway? Under what negotiations? I wondered how honest Atticus would remain under such a frank and defied neutrality. I put off wondering just to get some sleep, except the question made itself cozy at the back of my mind for the increasingly desperate times to eventually ask. I knew not who yet. Maybe not even Arius. I was so used to sleep I would expect it here, and it'd be weird if it didn't come. Gig of responsibility wasn't such a big deal, and yet it was. Though in the long run, with the expectation there long before the molecule of the applicant's consideration. I had the vibe that nothing made Atticus more jealous and envious of his brother, yet he fully respected him, at least publicly, like anyone without a passing second thought. I'd only see these souls for their true intentions through time. Like anybody. Was it not why I was brought? We are chained to actions. At what cost were they not revealing yet? So what did the Kexan really think of me in general, no matter what Atticus's word, reliable as it was and constantly subject to change? My reasonable guess, even before becoming acquainted, was he considered it a great honor and example of his species. Except war never is. The generals have only a reputation of lack or of luck in their tactic. This was a general in case of a war sparked. So was he really a true general? I became to understand, so hence I questioned Eris's premonition. In fact, Atticus should be the one writing a book expressing his honest jealousy, as I'd figure even without my own brother. What a Hamlet proportioned extremity within. A poor chap worthy of a title living up to the gloomy daily without involving any human skull on the ground, let alone hand. Then again, it wasn't his oh-so-jolly logical misfortune to be walked out of a birth country into a deemed countryside. Who really knows where? He calls home sweet field with blue skies that need cheering up. This was something mentally and soully calming and reevaluating for Atticus to call home. Beyond the large hut suitable for 3 people to inhabit at any given time, and more coffee after a fashion it would require. For all I knew, the next thing I'd be drinking would make me smell and see sounds and taste colors. Bottom line, I didn't deny any out loud that Eris is right. I had no choice but to suspend my disbelief. Phrase in the Metal anyone? In the hats of creatures resembling miners who only knew every kilometer here better than I could count raindrops in England. I was slowly more willing, but didn't need anything to slow me down before. What I needed was to help before it became any more unraveled in some unprecedented spiral and needed more help than before. Nobody needed anything now before, nor ever, not within the realm of simplicity and necessity. Even though I just be another drop of the sea of opinions, I didn't know how much more power I had as a human to summon without a degrading weapon. Or maybe it was what you did with it. So I'd be portrayed or depicted after this as a wielding a metaphorical one. A bit of reassurance emerged before many others amidst too much. Eris revealed the details of my circumstantial arrival that I just had to go along with. Much as the dream world of us all was visited again past our own perception of 12 hours or so, and is there, even though we are aware of it some nights, to return to? If for no sooner reason than to ease a possibly as quarrelsome imagination and worrisome mind, even though, like other planets, what is needed a single day of various as much as dog and human years. 2 Earth weeks when I could accomplish enough, she was most confident to take a break and return home with her own ambition and ability, although she didn't seem like it wore on her to be as likely considered as to herself, to me, or to the plans was a matter of perspective. I suppose I should have acted as surprised, but that by which way she wasn't specific. It wouldn't drain her manipulation of what I could dream, and she trusted me enough to know I wouldn't second guess the fresh air and tree scent. This was, too, was a cruel running gag of some assimilation. And she just added the success to make me happy. much as any lot was likely to spark in 2 weeks, let alone 2 for such as hours or minutes. Thus to become a nightmare and only a day as.